Welcome back to Income Trading 101. Today we're going to take a look at a company, Palo Alto Networks, a well-known company, and they've been in the news quite a bit lately. They released earnings a couple days ago here on, I guess it was May 21st, which would have been just last Friday. So had a weird few days off of earnings, and let's just go ahead and see how much data we can find on the company. So looks like we've got data back through mid 2012, and you can see I always like to just get a good view overall of what has happened in a company, because you never know. You want to know if are you sitting on all-time highs like we are in so many assets, or are we just starting out? If we retraced, and clearly every retracement has been followed by a new high. So this is, while we're not at all-time highs, we're still, I'm going to just stretch this out a bit, give us a little different view. We're still pretty high in the bullish pattern, if you will. So it's going to get like really, we'll look at it post-COVID. So from this low in mid-March all the way to where we are now. So let's dive in. We're going to start off like we always do. I just like to use the moving averages. You guys see me do these in videos over and over and over again. I like having a core set of metrics that I look at before I go and run off into the various ways of analyzing a company. So I'm going to look at, I set my 10-day to be in green because that's more of a buy signal. My midterm, my red, my sell button is on the 20-day, and then we're gonna go with we'll change the yellow to a 60, so that's more of a 3-month, kind of a longer term average. We can see how this stock has performed. Whenever the green crosses the red, that means you're entering a bullish period, and you can also see how the 60-day, the yellow, tracks it. And likewise, when the stock goes down like it did back here May 1st, you'll see the red end up the red line, which is our 20-day. Soon it'll be 20 periods. I'm going to go to different time frames, but the 20 goes above the green, and that indicates a bullish pattern. And then we have periods like we do right now where, let's just pull this in. Right now, we are all sort of converging because our green, our 10-day is in between our red and our yellow. So right now at the daily level, at the 1-day charts, we are not seeing any real bullish or bearish signal. We are in between, which means for me, I'll have to use another either time frame or another indicator to try to get any sort of information out of this chart. Part of what did it too is that gap move higher. I do expect us to go up, but let's go ahead and stretch this out a little bit. And sorry, I'm having to mess with the configurations a little more than normal, but you can see in the 1 hour, we've already pulled higher. Now, if you look in the upper left-hand corner over here, you get a numerical value for each of these. So our 10 period at the 1 hour is only $2, really $1.38 higher than our 20, which means they're pretty close, especially given that the 20 to the 60 period is more than $8, right? So there's a huge gap here, but these are rather close. This gap move after earnings, we gapped higher. Oftentimes, stock will come back and fill in that gap. We could talk about that another time. And you can see how it trailed up and then has been tailing off, which is what's put that 10-day or the 10 period closer to the 20. Let's take a look at the 30-minute just to get a sense, another look at it. At the 30, wow, the 10 is just 37 cents higher than the 20. And the 20 is, 10 and a half bucks almost higher than the 60. So you can see how things are really getting tight, and it looks like this market might be on the verge of a bit of a change. And certainly at the 15-minute level, I mean, this is really tight. You can see that if you look at the numerical values in the upper left-hand corner underneath Palo Alto networks, the 10 and the 20 are a penny apart. So technically, it's still bullish, but they're a penny apart, which means that times are changing. We get a few more down bars, a few more red bars. And this is on the 15-minute. Now, I'm making this video pre-market open. So if we have a down bar on the open, then we're definitely going to look bearish in the 15-minute and likely the 30 as well. Even though right now they all are holding on to, for dear life, holding on to a bullish signal. So let's go ahead and get rid of the moving averages. We're going to take a look at the MACD just to get a sense of momentum. I want to see what other, oh, didn't mean to do that. Type the word momentum. All right, so adding the MACD. The MACD on the daily level is pretty well known. No surprises here. The biggest reason why we had this bullish crossover here and then we pulled higher is that gap move. The earnings gap move definitely was going to pull that higher. And the MACD and the signal line, that's this blue line, and then the signal is the red line. Those are using exponentially weighted moving averages. So at the start, those three moving averages that I added are just simple moving averages, which fairly simple for you to calculate yourself. And then the MACD actually takes into account the exponentially weighted moving averages. Gives a little different view of similar information, but I like to see a crossover, and then I want to see it cross the zero line. This is the zero line here. So when these, both the MACD and the signal line are below, you'll see red bars. And then when it starts to head back higher, you'll see green bars. And it's showing you the what do you call it? The difference between these two. So when these, and I don't know that I've ever gone over this, when you see the green bars and this histogram down here, that just means that's showing you that the MACD is higher, and how much higher than the signal line, which is the red. So I don't talk about those a lot because we just look at it at the actual lines themselves, but that's why. So we had a crossover, a bearish crossover back here in April 29th. Prices did move lower. We've got a bullish crossover that happened after earnings on Friday. And thus far, the MACD line has crossed over positive, but the signal line has not. So let's take a look at the 1 hour and see what we're seeing there. I'm going to go ahead and spread this out so we can get a little bit better view, see what's going on. So we actually had in this one, sorry, I'm really having to adjust here. We had a bullish crossover happen back a week ago Friday. So that's May the 14th. And it crossed over, both the signal and the MACD line crossed into positive territory. Now it's crossed back and forth, but it's really just oscillated in positive territory, which is exactly what's expected to happen during a bullish uptrend. But look at this looming here. We had on May the 25th, a bearish crossover. That's the crossover where the signal line is higher and we're in positive territory. Now, I'm not going to be prone to sell this until it crosses into negative territory. As you can see, we had a bearish crossover here on May the 20th, and we also had one on May the 19th, and that really just, the bullish rally continued. So that's the reason why I hesitate to go ahead and sell. Based on this indicator alone, can give you false signals, especially when you're not used to using it. And then here in the 30-minute, we also had a bearish crossover that started on Monday, right? But it hasn't crossed the signal line. It hasn't crossed the zero line. So again, I'm less prone to see that as a true sell signal because we easily could have another one or two up bars can pull this higher. So I'm always keenly aware of like how my model will fool me, because you don't want to see a false signal and make a trade on a false signal. Same here, right? We had a bullish crossover back here on May the 29th. I'm sorry, May the 19th. And since then, it's just been oscillating but staying positive. Now, it looks like we might slightly go negative, but in this 15-minute, given that both the signal and the MACD line are so flat here, I still don't fully trust it. I'd need to see a big bar down before I use the MACD at least as a sell signal for this particular company. So let's go ahead now and just take a look at. We're going to go back to the daily, and I want to get a sense of where this company has been. So in the last year, we can see this how bullish it's been, along with the rest of the market. But what I really am interested in seeing is where we are sitting right now. So I'm going to do a little Fibonacci retracement just to see how far we've actually retraced a little bit, and if there are any other signal lines in there to be aware of. So from a MACD perspective, top to bottom, bottom to top, you can see we did cross the 23.6% level, but we never did reach the 38.2, which makes me think this isn't so much a retracement as it could be more of like a different wave. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Elliott wave. There are all these different technical indicators that have been used over time that can be valuable. I am interested in, and by the way, so this orange line is where we are pre-market, because I'm making this before market opens by about an hour and a half. So that gap move was significant, but let me get rid of this because we haven't reached beyond this. We haven't reached like the 38.2% retracement, which is one of the key Fibonacci ones. But look at this. I'm going to draw this line just to reiterate where price is sitting right now. Or actually, I'm going to go just a little bit above price right now. All right, so that line right there, that is what we call resistance. You can see this was resistance back here in late December, in late January, mid-January, again, April the 16th, so in April, mid-April, and now we're sitting right there in May, end of May. So that to me is when you see periods, you see areas that are consistently seem to matter, and that you definitely have to look at it, draw a line there, and say like, wait a minute, this may actually be a little bit of longer term resistance, more resistance than I realize. You've got, of course, this downward would have been downward there too. Let's change the color there. A little sort of downward moving, what do you call it, trend line. Now, obviously, that ignores the last 3 days of data, but what I'm more curious about is whether that means we are going to fall back into this. Remember how I mentioned that typically markets fill gaps? Doesn't have to happen immediately, but I'm this little gap that we have here from, we'll call it $344, 344 up to the market open on Monday should have been closer to 357 or so, 356, somewhere around there. I would imagine that these markets are going to come in and fill that. Doesn't have to happen immediately, like I said, but gaps typically do get filled. Like you see this gap here, gap lower, filled it. Now there's some gaps here that have not been filled, or were filled much later. So I guess this stock is prone to gap a bit. So maybe that's not the case. The other thing, so you've got really a question of whether this is also going to end up leading to anything. Let me draw that other. See, I'm more prone to draw that line there. I'm gonna put it in red. Well, yeah, put it in red. I'm more prone to draw that down, even though we have a little bit of data underneath it. The question is, are we gonna fall back within this, or are we going to break through? So right now, that orange line right here really is the most significant level on this chart, and that's because it's been a repeated level, a repeated theme, and has sort of played resistance in the past. Now, we might break through, and if we do break through, I would expect us to definitely challenge this high across that $400 range, but we just have to wait and see if this stock is going to push higher than this 371, let's see, 371.61, push higher than its than this previous recurring line of resistance. So hey, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, if you like, honestly, if you like technical analysis, this is not a crypto only or stock only, because I trade everything. In fact, I've got a couple of option trades expiring this week. I made money, which is always the goal. The goal is to use these systems, use these ideas, and be able to make money using them, because talking about them just isn't enough. So I do put this into practice. And if you like trading and you like technical analysis, definitely subscribe to this channel. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It can be, I'd love to be one of the channels you visit daily as I create more videos. Thank you guys so much for the comments, and I look forward to having you watch the next videos. All right, take care. Happy trading.